Hey guys, how's it going? Can everyone hear me well?
Yep, loud and clear. How are you, Murad? Good to see you.
Doing well, Spacey. Good to see you as well. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. I'm currently swaying back and forth on a yoga ball.
That sounds very nice.
It's awesome. Nice. I hope we get some people on stage. I see some guys from the Bronze Army that I'd love to hear from. Um, who else is here? A ton of people. Nice.
Absolutely. That's actually what I was going to say. I would love to see more people on stage, talking. So far, we're still going to give it a couple more minutes, but people are trickling in right now. If anyone wants to speak, if anyone wants to come up on stage, definitely request, and I will approve.
I want to give a shout out. I see we got Polymetric here. Polymetric, it's been a minute since I've gotten to have any in-person exchanges with you. Miami was sick because we got to listen to a Polymetric talk, got to speak to Polymetric one-on-one. I love that you're still wearing the Aeon with the Hegel shirt. So just wanted to give you a shout out. If you ever want to come up and talk on stage, we'd love to have you here.
Before we actually begin, and I'm starting to give a couple more people ability to speak, but I do want to shout out everybody that has created YouTube content during the YouTube competition that we've had for the past 6 weeks. We've recently announced, originally we were going to give prizes to top 10 people, but there were so many good submissions, we ended up giving prizes to 27 people. I want to give a shout out to Vasily, Arcane Vault, Audacious, Slow, Aeon, Chang, Cryptic Mange, Real Crypto Cow, STPC, SPX Filmmaker, Tarkan, Jordan Riz, Bloodflesh6900, AO Cousin, Sebstrail, TradFi Nightmare, and everybody else who participated in the YouTube competition. It was wonderful to see all of these submissions, and we're still sending some coins out, but ultimately we are sending out 69,000 coins this week to the community, and I'm really happy about this. In a month or two, we're going to be doing this once again. I do believe that creating video content, whether it's short form, long form, medium form, whatever you have it, it's one of the best ways to contribute to the Cognisphere. So we're going to be incentivizing it in a variety of ways.
Murad, I don't know if you want to talk about it now, but this was definitely one of the things I wanted to sort of hear from you as you were going through. So first of all, thank you for organizing this video contest. It was like a very large scale contest, so we appreciate your generosity and just the time and effort put into watching all of the submissions and doing your due diligence to figure out who which prizes were sort of warranted to give out, and for deciding to extend it. That's super, super generous. But I'm curious to hear what were some of the highlights that you saw from the different videos. I was just impressed by I just want to say what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of just the variety. It really, I feel like the submissions this time really encompassed all the different types of content creators that we have in SPX. So I thought that was really special about this particular competition. But yeah, I want to hear what were some of the highlights for you? What are some things that you felt from the different sort of genres of videos that you saw are good things to implement moving forward, or that you found particularly effective, if anything stood out to you?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think the word you use, variety, that's a very fitting word. What I really like is that some people, for example, made one video, but it was super, super high effort. Other people, they made smaller videos, but they made like half a dozen to a dozen of them over the past 6 weeks. And different people are obviously going to be creating different things. There's essentially two reasons why I'm a big believer in like video content. One is that AI has kind of cheapened the perceived value of text since 2022, and now a growing percentage of text on the internet is kind of felt like ChatGPT generated slop, right? And unfortunately, and this even pains me, but even some of my favorite sort of high IQ bloggers, you can kind of sense the presence of AI in some of their paragraphs, right? Now, I think text-based content is still important, but even ChatGPT aside, I think like people, the masses, normies, the 99%, whatever you want to call them, a lot of people have kind of just switched to video content altogether. And I think things like YouTube has been replacing articles, news, blogs for younger generations, in my opinion. And last but not least, the thing I want to say is we're probably 3 or 4 years away, maybe less, to hyper realistic videos, right? And essentially, videos are also going to be having their ChatGPT moment. I think right now, it's still a bit uncanny valley, right? And of course, although I do see boomers kind of watching some clearly AI generated slop videos, and they like can't tell, but I think they're still uncanny in some ways, right? But nevertheless, I think like we're probably 1, 2, 3 years away from even smart people not being able to tell in certain situations, right? And so I think the flip side of that is that we probably have 1, 2, 3 years left of people kind of appreciating videos, and especially appreciating like raw videos where you're just speaking to the audience and where you're obviously not AI, where you're speaking from the heart. Because a growing percentage of YouTube, unfortunately, as well as Instagram and TikTok right now, it's it's not just the video generation is automated, but the script is also automated, and like literally everything is on, and the cutting is automated, and it's like A to Z fully AI, right? It's not even like, oh, somebody wrote, like a human wrote the script and then they just automated the presentation, or the other way around, right? But now it's like fully, you can sense like the images, the editing, the actual person speaking, and the script is all AI, right? And so I think humans are incredibly going to be craving content which is the opposite of that, right? Which is maybe imperfect, but it's raw, it's real, it's authentic, it's organic, it's artisanal, it's human-made, right? And I think these things are going to kind of grow their premium. But generally speaking, kind of moving back to your exact question, I like that different people did different things, right? So, for example, like people like Sarkan, people like Trad Funny Nightmare, to some extent Lotus, they did videos that were like a little bit more sort of schizo, a little bit more rebellious, a little bit more in line with kind of late 2023, early 2024 era of SPX. And I really love to see sort of a revival of that. And Denko's last video would go into that category as well, right? But you also saw videos that are, I would say, more sort of traditional crypto, analytical, like essentially the way Vasily, Audacious, some of my videos, essentially what we're doing is we are mentioning the problems that are kind of most pertinent to the younger generations, to like Gen Z and millennials. Again, and I've spoken about it 1,000 times, but it's like things like cost of living crisis, things like massive debt, things like unaffordability of childcare, things like constant inflation, things like money supply constantly increasing, hyper competition, hyper saturation, and all of the kind of usual ways that people made money or usual careers, right? And many, many other things, right? And all of this is obviously also going hand in hand with this sort of hyper optimization, enshittification, lower quality of things, refinement culture. And all of these things are obviously connected and feed into one another. But our view is that SPX is a solution to this. It's at least a partial solution to this. And in my opinion, it is, simultaneously the next BTC, the next GME, the next Doge, the next XRP, all combined into one, right? And that's kind of like the style of videos that some of the other people have been making, which, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, are like a little bit more normie friendly. But I think the beauty of it is that we have so many different participants, and they all have their individual personalities and their individual sort of brain neurochemistries, and that they all see SPX in a different way, right? Which means that they can all essentially evangelize to their respective kind of person, right? And that's the beauty of having all of these different people in. It's that they will know exactly how to get people similar to themselves into the movement, right? And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah, there's a lot in what you just said. I totally agree. In terms of like different people with their different tastes, sort of evangelizing to different types of communities. When I think back to like GameStop, I think of Roaring Kitty and sort of like the diversity of his content. And like if you think back to some of the stuff he did, he had some schizo videos where he was like, I'm going to consult with my quant. And then he'd like pull out a magic 8 ball and ask a question related to what he was going to be investing in. Or he'd like pull letters out of a Scrabble bag to figure out the next ticker. And if the ticker didn't exist, he would like reverse it and put the letters backwards that he had drawn out of the bag. So there was some schizo stuff, but at the same time, he also had videos where he would sort of show his tooling and like go through the metrics that he used and how he programmed his spreadsheet and what he's scraping in terms of data. And then, you know, he had other posts where it was more about the thesis behind the company and like why he's interested from a fundamentals sort of standpoint in investing in GameStop. And so anyway, I think it's interesting because in the context of GameStop, you kind of had, similarly to what we have, this multifaceted nature to the kind of content, like the library of content that was out there. But on the negative side of things, it was almost like centralized to the Roaring Kitty account, where like not much of the other content was really scaling. But people would look to his YouTube channel, for example, or they would look to his Reddit posts and like really follow every single thing he was posting kind of religiously. So it's really interesting because this, like the SPX community has people who sort of prioritize different aspects. It's the people who prioritize the memetics and the schizo side of things, and probably I fall into that category. But then you have other people who prioritize sort of the fundamentals and appreciating the sort of like community driven efforts behind it and the decentralization of it and so on. You have the people who are sort of more metrics driven. And even if the metrics are, you know, not about, we know there's no chart, but like the metrics might be related to like looking at bubble maps and looking at token distribution. And obviously in the past like week or so, we've seen a lot of bundled stuff launch, which sort of exists in stark contrast to what we have here. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's really interesting that we have a sort of similar variety in terms of the nature of the content that we have, but it's sort of decentralized to these different nodes. Like if you see a Zarkan video, you know it's going to be schizo. If you see a hype video, it's probably going to be a mix of like schizo, but also like this sort of idealist and deep and moving sort of sentiment behind it. If you see something come from Matt Beck, you know it's going to be like some sort of like metrics oriented thing, but that's still aligned with like SPX's core values of like having no chart. So anyway, it's super cool. I think the video contest that you ran sort of underscored that, and it was cool to see all the different types of content come in. So yeah, I totally agree with you. But I kind of want to hear from some of the people who submitted stuff. I don't know if anyone wants to come on stage. Some of the people that submitted across maybe the different sort of genres of video. You know, like Murad said, there's like some short format, some longer format. There was some like more narrative or like, you know, someone doxing themselves, but then some of the stuff was kind of like more like CapCut edited schizo content. So I'd love to hear from some different people. And one of the things that Murad mentioned that I'd like to hear from some different video creators about is just like what your process looks like when you're creating the content that you're creating, because like there are nowadays so many different tools Murad touched on some of them, which are like, you could AI generate your script. You could be writing your own script and then do the AI text to speech. I see a lot of people using things like that. I saw more recently, I can't remember who it was. Someone gave a shout out to, I think, someone in Bronze Army who did a voiceover for them. So I just would really love to hear about different people and their process, whether or not you entered into the contest. If you're making video content, like, what does that look like for you? So if anyone wants to share, please do come up on stage. One of the good things that we used to do in SPX is like video streams where people would show their process. And a lot of people learned how to make videos from attending those sessions. So I think if we are to continue to expand our library, it's a really good practice to sort of like share how we look at things and share how we approach things, so that people could get inspired or be introduced to a new tool that maybe they didn't know about. My background is really limited with the videos. I've made some schizo videos on CapCut, but beyond that, not so much. So yeah, I don't know. If anyone wants to come up, please send a request to us. And yeah, I guess in the meantime, and let me know if anyone comes on stage, because sometimes my phone doesn't let me know. But in the meantime, a couple of really awesome videos came out this week since we're on the subject. And I wanted to give a shout out to Zarkan has made another banger. It's currently retweeted from the main SPX account. So definitely check it out if you haven't gotten a chance. If it seems sticky to you, I think, like, for me, the reason things stick is because they feel like they're novel. And so that was one of the things I just wanted to mention. If it's not a format that people are used to seeing, if it feels novel, sometimes it has like an added stickiness to it. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to shout out Zarkan, and I also wanted to shout out Slow, who made a sick video. And I know Slow has been dabbling a little bit more in that. So I just wanted to shout the both of them out. Slow's video, if you haven't heard Undi's beautiful, luscious vegan vocal cords, go watch Slow's video. And while on the subject of Slow, I think I've missed, there's an episode with Southern Fried Chad interviewing Slow. So that's something I'm behind on. But I'm going to need to check it out. So just wanted to shout out those people. And it sounds like someone came on stage, but I can't see you. So sorry. Feel free to speak.
Hey everyone, this is Blaze here. Yeah, so on the topic of Slow's video, it's basically like a clip from the Forrest Gump movie depicting the Bronze Army's #1 meme maker. So the 2 times that we've launched campaigns to like inform and liberate people in Ghost Chain communities, XRP and Cardano, that night or the day before, Joe in the Bronze Army is pumping out like 25 memes, and if you go and look through the chat, it's like maybe 1 or 2 other, maybe a handful of other people have pumped out some memes, and then like maybe the most is like 3 or 4, and then Joe's just out there like assembling and disassembling his rifle at lightning speed with these memes. So it's an ode to Joe, one of our brightest arms manufacturers.
Blaze, thank you for that. Is Joe is Mexi Aeon, I think is his handle. Is that correct?
I think that's right, but I'll verify and
Thank you so
say
much.
if it's not. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to give Joe his proper due, because you know what? Before I saw the video that Slow made as a tribute to Joe, I could tell that the content, it had a sort of like very distinctive style, and obviously the Bronze Army content, like, it looks bronze. It, like, I don't know, there are certain characteristics to it that you could think, okay, maybe like they just have a sort of style guide, but it makes a lot more sense now. And Blaze, I don't want to correct you, but I do want to say you guys kind of have had more than 2 missions. You kind of had a 3rd mission, which involves tacking down Idea Hazard, who is impossible to catch. So I wanted to actually shout you guys out anyway, because, like Chang, myself, Hype, like a bunch of us have been after Idea Hazard for a really long time. Because as everyone saw, the new website launched. We've been like sitting on the new website for a really long time because we needed Idea Hazard to like do just some like final logistical things. And so Bronze Army came in clutch, because that day I think I started like trying to like utilize the fact that I could go into labor at any given moment, and it would be really nice for us to like have this thing out before that happens. And still no response, and all of a sudden there you see the Bronze Army step in with some memes, and it's like, when website, or I forget exactly what the meme was, but Blaze, did Joe make that asset also?
No, I think that one was from the commander himself, Ninolit.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's like a cat, kind of a low angle shot of a cat like looking upwards, and so you get that lighting effect. And he's in like a military suit, and it's just Wind website. Yeah, it was perfect. And the thing is, actually, the Bronze Army allocated 3 weeks to the DM Idea Hazard mission, and I think we accomplished that in under 20 minutes. So now we kind
That's
of have some
amazing.
extra time off right now.
Okay, so Blaze, I mean, I don't want you to expose your sort of methods as one of the sort of subcultures of SPX, but now that I'm hearing you guys allocate time to things, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a higher level of planning and coordination than I think I was even aware of. Oh, good, and I see Unk requesting, so I'm gonna definitely, let's get him up here. But yeah, I'm curious to hear, Blaze, like, what's the general structure of things? Where do you guys live for coordinating on these different tasks?
Yeah, so we have a main Bronze Army chat, and then we have a front office chat between the 4 generals. And internally, we've released our Bronze Army Code of Conduct, and the Code of Conduct item number 6.9 is 1 comrade equals 1 comrade, unless a general is speaking. So that's kind of the organizational structure. And I think the memetics of it are basically intended to say, like, no one's really better than the other. Yes, we need some level of command and an ability to operate in an executive fashion, but like find your lane and start filling it, and have fun while you do it. Yeah, that's it.
That's amazing. I know we have Unk on stage, so it's only right to let Unk jump into this conversation. Unk, tell us anything you want us to know about Bronze Army, whether it relates to how it came about, whether it relates to some missions you guys are starting to get coordinated on that we don't yet maybe know about. Anything you want to share with us. We'd love to learn a little bit more about what you guys are doing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, hey, how's it going, guys?
Yo.
Yeah. First off, outside the Bronze Army, guys, y'all done an unbelievable job. The website, space, Murad, thanks for throwing the competition on. And I could literally name everybody. But the Bronze Army specifically, the kind of lore of it is, at the end of the day, it was kind of Hype's creation, even though he didn't really mean for it to happen. With his tiered ranking system, that's kind of what got the Bronze Army started in the first place. And to be honest, guys, like, I think the people in the Bronze Army, we were forged in a bear market. So you have the most true blue SPX, diamond-handed type mentality guys that have been here through the worst of times. And I can't imagine, I know everyone's having a good time, but the Bronze Army's having a blast right now. We're doing spaces every day. Obviously, we have the meme stuff going on. Missions are ongoing. And anybody that's interested, if you haven't found your lane in SPX, you don't quite know, if you're a little intimidated to try and start creating things, come join the Bronze Army. We're just a bunch of normies having a blast on the timeline. And the relationships and the friendships and the bond that we've formed, and however long it's been, a month, but even longer than the SPX community it's really amazing. And I think that's the best part about the Bronze Army is we've kind of found our little safe haven in SPX, and the bonds we formed are they're legit. So it's been an unbelievable experience.
Well said, General. I guess what I would add to that is kind of the way I see the Bronze Army is it's essentially a fractal of SPX in certain ways. So like you said, you were surprised by like the level of coordination and stuff. And it's like, it's a joke until it isn't. I mean, it's always a joke because it's memetics and we're having fun and we're memeing. But at a point, it's not a joke. It's a subculture within SPX. And one of the ways I've started to think about it, especially as we've had recent conversations around like memes in the meme coin space and like SPX as the index of memes, is like you could look at Bronze Army as like the first collectively subscribed meme within the index, but we don't have our own separate liquidity vehicle because we're not extractive. We are here to turbocharge the network and provide our own flavor and provide a place for people to kind of collect and organize, which is going to be needed as SPX grows, because our total addressable market is literally like the world. So it's not all just going to be like people are going to have to start to create little synergistic enclaves that kind of reflect their own time and place and how they want to contribute their energy. And I kind of view SPX or Bronze Army and SPX as like one of those first memes that is collectively subscribed in the index, which is SPX.
That was super well said. I think like one of the things that I respect the most about the way the Bronze Army has conducted itself is like beyond the level of coordination. It just feels like, yes, we can feel on the timeline from the energy of the posting and everything that everyone is having a good time, but it's been like having a good time without sacrificing like the core sort of ethos of SPX, which I think is a really hard balance to strike sometimes. And like everyone has had missteps at some point, but it just feels like there's a sort of like, I don't know, just a general awareness for like what the boundaries are and how to conduct yourselves within those frameworks, which is impressive to scale in the amount of time that I feel like you guys have scaled it. So anyway, that's just, I'm just an outsider because even though Unk is like, yeah, if you can't find your place, come join the Bronze Army. I already tried, as everyone knows. I was not accepted into the Bronze Army. But anyway, I will always identify as Bronze Army. Don't tell Undy. I'm Tofu Army by default because I'm vegan. But I really love what you guys are doing, and I think there were questions at the very beginning when it was like XRP and Cardano, and people were like, well, is that PvP? And it's like, well, no, what fundamentally are these things? Like, who are the players, like the large players involved in these things, and how do they operate? Are they operating like from the sort of lens of like DeFi philosophy, or so I think you're coming from a good place with all of these things. And I think a lot of good choices have been made to date. So yeah, just shout outs to you guys, and definitely the memes have been entertaining. The spaces have been really good. I'm glad that we have some of these Bronze Army spaces because, like I said last week, these big ones on Sundays, we don't get so many people getting to interact with each other. But in Bronze Army spaces, there's a lot of interaction that happens among the community. So yeah, just amazing work. And shout outs to you guys on helping us sort of speed run the idea hazard thingy. Because I think we probably still wouldn't have the website. And I think Idea Hazard actually wanted to celebrate you guys because he definitely must have seen my tweet earlier that day to him and like chose to instead use the opportunity to say like Bronze Army, like put it over the top sort of thing. So I actually think he intentionally wanted to use this opportunity to be like, they're sick. That level of coordination is being used to good ends. So anyway, that was my interpretation of like him ignoring the constant efforts of like the rest of us and like waiting until there was some level of decentralized coordination that took place. Like this SPX 6900 thing is such a like a testament to consensus mechanisms, like collective behaviors and whatnot. So yeah, I think he wanted you guys to have your shine from that.
I think, I think that's right, and that's that's kind of just a testament to the mimetic genius he is. He's kind of waiting for the right signal in the network. He's sitting on it. He knows it needs to get done. He's not stupid. He's aware, but he's kind of sitting on it and waiting for the right signal to be received for him to greenlight it. And it's kind of just a way to, to say to upvote how to collectively organize. And and kind of responding to you about not being in the Bronze Army, I'd say like you are precious and we need to protect you, and you can kind of view the Bronze Army as like Spacey's like mimetic Secret Service. One of our roles.
I don't feel worthy of that. I just want to be one of you guys.
Hey, no, I have to double down on that. See, Space, it was the reason was called plausible deniability. We didn't know what we were going to become, and we couldn't bring Space into the black hole of the Bronze Army.
You know what? But you said that before I knew what your first sort of mission was going to be, and after I saw the first mission, I was like, well, I appreciate that they gave me the opportunity for plausible deniability, but no, I'm totally aligned with you.
Yeah, thanks for everything you do, Space. Yeah, think of us. We are your Secret Service, and thanks for letting us up. And a special shout out, Nino Lit, the commander. Hoodish is asleep right now with the other general. And guys, feel free to join us. We've got ping pong practice as soon as this one's over, guys. So appreciate you letting us on.
Oh, you guys had me dying laughing last week when I saw that there was ping pong practice that was going to be after volleyball. That is so funny. But yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like you guys are highly understated, including using this whole ping pong instead of volleyball sort of symbolism. But it's great. It's just super entertaining. And I think it's like a good reminder to everyone that like, number one, you can coordinate with your people within SPX, and like there is strength in numbers. And like I think it was Blaze, I couldn't see, but it sounded like your voice mentioned like, yeah, Idea Hazard was kind of like upvoting like the use of this sort of consensus mechanism by waiting until the right signal for the whole website thing. But you can coordinate and you can accomplish more when you coordinate with other people and like, make it context specific. Like, I know there are people who are working on improving their like YouTube performance who have a group chat together. So like anytime you share in the same problem or whatever, there's probably a group of people. The community is big enough now that you're probably not the only one that wants to tackle whatever the problem is. So it's the Bronze Army is a really good proof of concept. And I think that they do it and they have fun while doing it. And that's like always been what SPX has been about. So I hope we see a lot more of that in the future. So yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for everything. And I see we have Cow on stage. So I have both my phone and my laptop. On my laptop, I can see my speakers. On my phone, I cannot. So Cow, how are you doing? What's good?
Yo. I am on a fruit mission right now at the grocery store, but things are good. things are great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty well, but I want to hear more about this fruit mission. What is this? What does this entail?
I am constantly on a fruit mission. I'm a fruit fiend.
Are you a fruitarian though?
I mean, I'm not quite that extreme. I kind of wish I was, but I kind of substituted like a year ago, just like any snacking habit I had for just strawberries and random fruit, and it's delicious. So unfortunately, they just kind of disappear. So I'm constantly having to come back and redo the process. But yeah, I just wanted to add really quickly to what you said earlier, Spacey, if that's okay.
Please go for it.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to also shout out the Bronze Army because I think Blaze is completely right. And Slow actually mentioned this on his Persist Forever with SFC on yesterday when it was released. I did talk to Slow after the conference last weekend, and basically, I'm a startup person. I'm constantly like paranoid about like how can things die? How can we prevent their death? And what can we do to make sure like we're constantly moving in the right direction. And sometimes I get a little like carried away with that. But I was asking him like, okay, this is great. This conference was amazing. I was really sad I missed Amsterdam, but like now what do we do? Like how do we go even bigger? And his comment, which he mentioned in the podcast, which I thought was really true, and I think the Bronze Army is an example of this, was that we need to like basically start throwing smaller scale events more consistently and build out these sort of like regional nodes or regional groups that will function as like obviously better decentralization and kind of lasting friendships and all that kind of stuff, but also a great medium, a more approachable medium for people who are interested in what SPX is and want to come in because a friend told them about it and they think it's interesting, but they don't really know how to approach it. And like as these larger conferences grow, inviting someone to a 200-person conference doesn't really have like it's cool and it's great, and we should continue to get quote unquote bigger, but it also doesn't carry the intimacy or the like kind of lasting relationship that you have with someone when you're able to like sit down with them and talk and realize we're all people. And even though someone might be excellent at making videos or writing tweets, and you might admire them, like everybody's the same, right? And we all like kind of believe in the same shared mission, purpose, etc. And so I thought that was really astute. And I think that the Bronze Army is like an excellent example of this, that like you said, like kind of adheres to the practices, the values, all that kind of stuff that we all subscribe to. So I'm going to think about how I can contribute to like my own version of that in my, I guess, general region. And I would advise that everybody think through the same, because I think it's genius. And like, as we saw on display this week, last week, etc., we're going to grow, and there's always going to be some level of disagreement at times within the cognosphere. And I personally don't think that's a bad thing. It's really about treating everyone with respect, and I guess putting SPX first. And I think that everybody does a good job of doing that. So, yeah, sorry for just word sandwiching there.
No, that was
a couple thoughts I had.
That was awesome. No, I definitely love the idea of these sort of like geographic locations where we kind of create stronger relationships with each other. And like geographic, I think Bronze Army is across all different time zones, so sometimes that's difficult. But yeah, in terms of like these smaller IRL meetups, that's definitely, I think it's on a lot of people's radar. And I definitely agree that that's the way to strengthen the network, because like online, we have our people who, we relate to, we interact with regularly. But if you're going out for coffee with the same group of people once a month or something, and maybe using that meetup to like spam the city with like stickers or flyers, it's like maybe more meaningful. And I think we have Seb on stage who has started doing something along these lines. So Cal, real quick, I just want to, before I jump over to Seb, because I think Seb was definitely one of the earliest people to start working on these regular sort of meetups in their city. But before we jump to him, Cal, your fruit situation, have you ever tried plum cots? They're like apricots that are hybridized with plums. Trader Joe's.
God, you're giving me a new addiction.
Trader Joe's has them. I just tried them for the first time like a week ago, and they blew my mind. So yeah, highly recommend.
Okay, got it. I'll add it to the long list. I'm carrying like 5 pounds of fruit back to my car right now.
I mean,
I feel like I'm a forager.
I love it. I love it.
I can't eat my own, so I have to make do with this. Oh, I also want to give one quick shout out to all of the many DCAers over the last 2-3 weeks who have hit an entire year of DCAing. Super cool. Congratulations. And I think, the fruits, no pun intended, of your labor will will be very, very apparent in the not so distant future. So I just think that's awesome. Consistency wins, and like huge shout out to all of you.
Yeah, I think, Cal, you were the one that tweeted about that recently, and sort of brought it to my awareness that actually there's a huge portion of our community that's like just broken through the year mark. So thanks for shouting that out. I think we can give everyone a round of applause who's past that milestone. Hold on. Yeah. Super, super awesome. Very, very nice.
Hey,
oh yeah, go ahead.
Blaze,
Sorry.
yeah, Blaze here, just to comment on that. At least for me, the reason why I hit that milestone, and I stopped publicly posting when I switched over accounts, but I've still been DCing every day. And the reason why I hit it is because Cal got me on it a year ago. So not only like is he, correctly shouting out people who have done that year-long mark, but he was also like the genesis of that story for me, and I'm sure others. So thank you, Cal.
That's amazing. What was it?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, like, first of all, Creatine did start it. Shout out Creatine, and we kind of just ran with it together. But I think it's something like the Bronze Army, or the many other sort of things like Persist Forever, and many of the commandments that it started as a moment in time in the cognosphere, and the origin actually doesn't really matter in my eyes. It's about like the collective consistency and persistence of the group that make it a thing over a long period of time, to the point where it's like undeniable. And I also don't post my DCAs anymore, but I think like breaking that initial seal is super important. And now it's like way more comfortable for someone to come in and say, okay, I'm going to DCA alongside these guys, because look at like the dozens of people who have been doing this for a year plus. Like, it's not a foreign thing, right? Because nobody wants to be the only person who's, I guess, quote unquote, brave enough to be putting their capital forward every day. So.
Yeah, I hear that. And I understand what you're saying, where you're like, oh, the origin doesn't really matter and all that stuff. And I guess like for the people who inspired later waves of it, it does reaffirm the choice that you made. And sort of like you went out, Cow, on a limb and were like, all right, I'm going to start doing this. A couple other people in the community as well. And now that like other people are doing it, it kind of just like reaffirms that it was a solid choice to begin with. But yeah, no, I think for me, like, separate from the DCAing thing, I think of the people who created positive habits in me. And one of the things I consider to be a positive habit is that I'm 18 years vegan, right? Like, which is a pretty long time, but I am older. And I think of what started that habit. And there were a couple of different sort of situations that came together. But I think of my dance mentor, Diane Harvey Salam, who was teaching me modern dance and African dance at the time, first year of college, whatever. And I think of her and I think of how she influenced me to make these sort of positive changes that it's like the first domino, but it's a huge ripple effect, because once you make one positive change and it's like a ritualistic thing that you do, it rewires your brain in a certain way, and it influences other choices that you make. And I would just say, like, Blaze wanting to acknowledge you, I think is like a very beautiful thing, because like the act of DCAing, and we in SPX understand this, because it is one of the sort of core tenets that we're not going to stare at a chart because we've been manipulated by charts and by price action in so many other contexts, especially in the traditional stock market. And like, we no longer want to be sort of manipulated or psyoped by like red candles or green candles. So yeah, I think like this positive act of DCAing, like having conviction in something and acting in accordance with that conviction, it is so wider reaching than just like building your SPX bag. So yeah, so I just wanted to jump on and say I can relate to like the sentiment that Blaze shared in other contexts of my life, because once you make that one positive change, it just like extends itself into a million other areas. So yeah, that's super beautiful. And I feel like I don't know that these things are like like whether these things are abstract or concrete to people, but like I can pinpoint other changes in my life I made after going vegan, that sort of ritualistic act of like choosing more cautiously what I put into my body. But I would be interested in hearing some accounts of like people who DCA'd or started to DCA and other changes that sort of manifested that may have loosely been related to that sort of change in their way of thinking. Kind of curious about that, but it might be too abstract. I'm not sure. And it might be too,
I think
yeah.
I could address it a little bit. This is Blaze. So the way that the DCA thing worked for me, you said ritualistic, like contribution of capital. It was kind of a precursor to retard maxing and being the ritualistic contribution of like energy in a focused direction. So, I kind of view it like you can contribute to our network with your capital or your energy. And sometimes people who don't know how to act in the world, or they feel stuck, or they don't know what to do, like the easiest thing to do is to develop a habit of DCAing. And then you'll start to find people in the cognosphere that you respect and want to listen to and follow and study. You'll start to find people that you would view as more contemporaries, like came in around the same time as you, and start to build those connections. And then you'll find yourself reacting to a cultural moment, conversation around gatekeeping, and then starting or being amongst the people who start the Bronze Army. And then now you're off to the races. Now you're doing things with your energy, not just your capital. And like some people need a lot of those like overlapping connections first before they can figure out how to do things. But it's kind of just you're wading into the pool, and then once you feel supported and you see a lane and you see where you can contribute, like you can kind of just go. And maybe actually one of the beautiful things about the Bronze Army now is like we're saying we've already planted this flag here that you could come and contribute with us right away and kind of receive somewhat of a mimetic education and like get oriented. So I think that's pretty cool. And I'd love to see other kinds of things like that start to rise up.
Yeah, I love that. I love the sort of progression for you that you described, and to think of, the different ways in which people initially start to contribute and how those contributions sort of like, I don't know,
Compound.
like, yeah, they compound. Right. There's like a resonance that starts to happen, and then you start to see yourself being able to fill other voids. And yeah, it's super interesting. Yes, thank you. That was the right word. Yeah. Awesome. Well, man, I love having you guys on stage. This is sick. Blaze, you like when you speak, people who were watching, like I think you weren't on stage last week, if I remember, or maybe you were, but very briefly or something. But people were really, you made an impact. You made an impression on people from the South Carolina conference, and it was like a very human sort of exchange. But it really struck people, like it struck a chord in a lot of the community members. So it's cool to have you up here. I hope you come up more often. And yeah, I wanted to jump over. So while we're on the topic of like these sort of geographic nodes that we're trying to like strengthen, we should jump over to Seb, because Seb has done insane amounts of work in organizing. And, for a while we watched videos of Seb just sort of like in London with a megaphone, with a sign, whatever, and like doing it pretty regularly. But Seb has, gotten a lot of events together in that area and helped get a lot of people meeting in person and sort of strengthening that like UK node. So I do want to hear from Seb, maybe any any suggestions that you might have for people who are trying to get this started, how to go about it, like what works and what doesn't. Or if you just want to tell us about one of your meetups that you felt like was particularly good, that maybe you can create a cadence out of. Yeah. So any thoughts on that, Seb, from your own experiences?
Hey girl.
Hey, girl. Thanks for being here, by the way.
100%. Sorry if I didn't realize my mic was on before. I think I was rugging, and then I saw a comment and they were like, Seb, you're on. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. Well,
sorry if I was interrupting
I
anyone.
at first went to mute everyone, and then I realized if I tapped and held your name, I could actually just individually mute you. But it wasn't because I didn't want to hear from you. So I hope you don't misinterpret that. We definitely want to hear from you. I figured you just didn't know your mic was live.
Yeah, I've just got edgy connection in my house that just does funny things, so apologies.
No, you're good. You're totally good.
But yeah, I mean, we've got an event UK. It's really silly to say UK because it's in London. It's such a London centric, capital centric country. But we've got one on the 26th, and it's in Hyde Park, which is our biggest park in London, and it's going to be just to get together. So this is actually off the idea of Mike. I think maybe even Blaze was suggesting. I can't remember. It was on Monday or last week, but having like missions for the meetups. And though our meetup on the 26th isn't fully that, it's kind of halfway to there because I just thought it was a genius idea. And what Mike was saying was something like having a collective. Obviously, we're all very well versed with having a mission, but having like smaller missions to gather towards. And that can sort of give us a common goal. So on the 26th, we're going to put the table up and we're going to do a change my mind and then do a picnic afterwards. And we'll probably like have some cool parameters like can everybody bring some food and can everyone bring a person? It's kind of small stuff. I think there's probably better things that could be done for smaller missions. I mean, again, back to Bronze Army stuff. You guys are like absolutely crushing it on just like the consistent like mission based stuff and building like anticipation for it. So I think to answer that question a bit, this basically, I think it is a bit of the anticipation, like you see with the Bronze guys. You know, like there's some marketing before. If you're doing an IRL thing, there's being aware that people need to see it numerous times and build a bit of excitement and have like a little group chat and probably don't overthink it. Just go for it. Just get it out there and yeah, it will just come together when you meet and you can just figure it from there. I mean, every time we gather as UK Aeons, we have such cool ideas and we've just built like really good bonds now. I mean, from the beginning, it was like instant connection, but because we're Aeons, right? But it really actually is genuine connection that we all feel when we do these IRL things. So I think the best thing is just to start, and then you can sort of brainstorm together when you're out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I guess not fixating on like having a minimum number of people. Like you could literally just meet one or two other people in your city and it'll grow eventually. Because like you said, Seb, I really like this concept of like, all right, well, one of the like sort of mini missions is like everyone bring another person. That's pretty within reach for most people to bring someone along, whether it's like a sibling, whether it's, you know, a friend or a significant other. So I really like that concept because like one of the things that I regretted at the beginning of SPX was not jumping on like onboarding my loved ones sooner. And so if it's something that we really all have this conviction in, we should probably prioritize the people that we love and care about, and making sure that they're really well informed on it. And I think that's an area that like we all could probably still do better. That I think about a lot. You know, like we go to family functions and sometimes you don't want to be the weird and crazy one talking about flipping the stock market, maybe. I kind of embrace being that person, but usually not always unsolicited. Sometimes it's like, oh, what have you been up to? And then I'm like happy to jump at the opportunity to be like, well, since you asked. And then it blows people's minds and you end up talking for 2 hours about it, inevitably. So just prepare yourselves for those conversations. But yeah, I think we could all do probably a better job of just onboarding the people in our like immediate proximity. And so maybe these like city-based like geographic localizations with IRL meetups are a good way to do that, because you're kind of like carving out time and space, and it's meant to be dedicated to SPX rather than hijacking like the Thanksgiving dinner meal and stuff. So yeah, anyway, I totally like that concept. And you said you're also going to do the Change My Mind table. Have you guys thought about like what that table is going to look like yet?
It's probably just going to be the same. I don't know if we're going to mix it up, but I mean, the last time we did it in Hyde Park, it's almost like you get lost in conversation because there's just so many people, and it was Ruben and a few others, and I mean, Ruben's really good at talking, so he just goes off on like the finance stuff, but everybody's got different angles, so. And I don't know if you guys know Speaker's Corner, but it's pretty. It gets pretty electric sometimes with people having debate, and they're always quite topical. And sometimes maybe people get a bit too heated. But hopefully, we're gonna bring some love to the arena. People also get a bit hot in London. They can't struggle with the heat, so it always sends people a bit funny. But yeah, it's literally. I think it's just a meetup, really. I mean, we did the comedy thing last month, and like you said, there's basically the small numbers are really good. The small numbers work really well because you get to have more like intimate conversations and actually like check in with each other and be like, oh, like how's this actually going, and you can, and that I think makes deeper connections. So yeah, I encourage anybody, even if it's just two of you. That's a whole IRL connection that you can just build off of. It's definitely easy to get disheartened if your aim is to get like 10s, 20s, 30s. But that I think is a once a year, twice a year, three times a year sort of thing. Otherwise, it also loses its novelty if they're. Maybe it doesn't. Anyway, let me not. I don't know what I'm saying. I guess meetup.
Oh, you're saying like if you do it too frequently, that it might lose its novelty?
Just the massive ones, because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right, it doesn't have the same impact if there's like a million conferences you're thinking, but it's like if we have like the Amsterdam one, the South Carolina one, the Miami one, maybe a fourth one or something, then it's still like got that high impact and people can look forward to it and the anticipation can build and so on.
Yeah, exactly. Because then you've got something to really, really, and you save your pennies up, and you're like, okay, I have to. Nobody can say
right,
it's
and you
away.
reasonably might be able to make it to all of them.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. I hadn't, it's gotten really out of control. And before, like, I got really late in my pregnancy, I was going to these crypto conferences literally every month all over the world. And it's like, it's out of control. And it's like, I just saw these people. I just listened to these exact same panels. So I think you make a good point that like there is probably a sweet spot in terms of like what's the right number of conferences to host, where they get to sort of keep their sort of novelty. They get to cover different topics, and not feel like there's this sense of redundancy. Because I think that's one of the things we don't want to fall into, this like sort of like trance state where it's like everyone's just regurgitating the same talking points over and over and over and over again, and it's exhaustive, and it's like it feels more like brainwashing than like critical thinking. So yeah, I think we never want to let ourselves like get into these sort of like habitual sort of talking points, if that makes sense. I don't know, because
Centralization silos.
yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. So I don't know. I think you make a good point. I think it was okay to say Seb. But who am I to judge what's okay and what's not okay? But no, I think it's actually a really important point where if you're having these smaller, more personal meetups, it's like less dilutive to the impact of the conferences and all the other content that's being put out regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of there's like there's like cathartic conversations that you can have, because sometimes as well I notice there's things where I
I haven't articulated it necessarily, or I don't want to put it into spaces, but you kind of want to spitball ideas and you just want to be upfront and honest. And it's kind of a good place. Not that it's a show when we're online at all, but you just get to look someone else in the eyes and you just say, like I don't know, just there's some of the honesty that comes in the conversations is really really good, and I think it just makes it stronger when we come back. And Evil Candy Bar on the last one was just watching him was making me bullish as he was shilling this new guy that Ruben had brought with us, and he was just for like 2 hours just beasting him. He was just beasting him with SPX, and I was just like, holy crap, this guy's on the same he's on the same team as us. Like,
Right. How bullish is that? Yeah,
holy
Evil
crap,
Candy
yeah.
Bar is like a force. I can sense that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
What were your things based when we were doing these monthly meetups? Is quite a lot. What were your sort of schmoozing points when you were going around talking to people?
So like when I first started, it was ETH Denver in February of 2024. And, as I think I've mentioned in other spaces, it was just myself and Mayo. And things were really bad in terms of like morale in the community, sentiment was down, engagement, attendance at spaces, like everything was just low. Like you want to say local bottom, but this was like all-time low. Almost like since like basically the coin had launched. And so at ETH Denver, when we were going around, I mean, and we had nothing going on in terms of like official meetups at that conference or anything like that. But we had coordinated. I had said, I'm going to get the stickers printed, and Mayo had said, I'm going to get the sort of like rave glasses made with our logo on them. And the rave glasses, when you look at the light, it creates these like cool rainbow hearts. And so we were going to do that. And actually, I'll shout out Yonix because Yonix helped us out also. And I had also gotten like SPX branded lighters. So we came with a couple of things that we knew we were going to hand out at the conference itself. And like anyone who's been to ETH Denver, it's kind of like, I want to say it's like one of the more, and I'm saying this in a good way, it's like one of the more nerdy of the crypto conferences because there's like hackathons. It's a more sort of like developer centric conference, and it lasts for like almost 2 weeks. But the bulk of the conference stuff happens like the second week or something like that. So I was only able to get there for 3 days because I couldn't really take off of work. So Mayo and I met there and we went to the conference with all of the things we had brought. And we were just literally like, Mayo is going to laugh probably when I say this. I see that he's in the audience. But like, I was like screaming, like the tactic was like, what's going to stand out to people? So like we'd be on in an escalator going down and then other people would be coming up and I'd be like screaming at the oncoming traffic on the escalator, like the S&P 6900 will flip the market cap of the S&P 500. And people were like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? So anyway, it had like the sort of like shock value or like the wow factor. And then some people wanted to hear more. So like people would then like meet us halfway on the staircase or something like that. And it was just cold chilling. And like you don't, one of the things that I quickly found out, I guess, from doing this was like one size does not fit all. And like you kind of want to be responsive to a person and where they're coming from. And I remember one of the things that I was using very frequently, aside from, just hearing what people's backgrounds were and like kind of just having conversation related to their sort of realm of the crypto space. One of the things was we had the original website. And I would show them the website. And for those who were around for SPX back in like late 2023, early 2024, the website was like, if you go on our new website, you'll see, if you've gotten to explore it yet, Chang integrated something that kind of resembles a tool that we once had. Chang integrated something called the Lumi, like it's like a Lumina sort of AI bot that you could ask questions to. It's a large language model. It'll respond to your questions. So back in the day, like when we were at East Denver, we were showing people the original website, which had a very similar functionality. But instead of it being Lumi, it was Marie Rose, and you could ask it questions, and she would kind of like do a schizo response. And people saw the website, and they were like market buying on the spot. So a lot of times you guys hear me, and I'm always like, schizo is very sticky. This website, just the website alone, when people saw it and when they interacted with the Marie Rose AI bot, they were so mind blown, and they were like, this looks futuristic. It feels different from anything we've ever seen. They were market buying on the spot. So, and sometimes it was like, let's show them the OG video, like, welcome to the SP6900, an advanced cryptography blockchain token coin with limitless possibilities and scientific utilization. And they're like, what the hell am I listening to right now? But it's sticky because it's like, what is this? Like, I've never once experienced anything like it. So I think the best onboarding tools, and thanks to Chang and this new website, I think we're back to having that as something we can actually use to onboard people. So I would say the best onboarding tools for when you're doing these little IRL missions are probably the website. Let them use the functionality of the Lumina AI bot. But also there's information on there, right? Like brief history of SPX. There's videos, like Chang created sort of a repository of some of the most iconic SPX videos. So the OG video is on there, along with some old hype videos, some old Skeletonin videos, and so on. People resonate with that stuff. They're like, this is weird. This sounds crazy. And then if, that stuff doesn't stick with them, you have the other side. We have so many great sort of like community quants, but we also have like Chang integrated onto the website, the bubble maps. So if you want to show them how well distributed the token is, you can do that directly from the website. So yeah, Seb, to your question, I don't necessarily have a good strategy, but I have found that the website and the more schizo videos are kind of like a good starting point and may not sufficiently do the job, but like it's enough to pique someone's attention and interest. But yeah, I think you guys are taking a very different approach by where you are. I like this idea of like Q&A, like, or discourse and debate on a topic. So I think that's cool, and I think that works also. And I see Chang is on stage. Changus.
Check.
I would like to add something to what Spacey said. Like, personally, for me, what made me buy SPX in the first place was so basically Murat's token 2014 speech was kind of revolutionary for me because it made me think in a way that meme coins could be a serious investment. And among the Murat's list, like he had the list, he named the top three, which was SPX, Giga, and Popcat during that time. And I was looking at the communities back then, and I found SPX the most interesting because of how many schizo there are. So maybe there's like a way to hook the people to look at the analytical part of the SPX, and then when they see the memetics of it, and then they'll be like, okay, maybe they could actually flip the stock market because they're just crazy. And even if they don't, it's going to be funny watching TradFi panic over a meme coin, and that's worth a shot. So that's why I decided to join SPX, and I honestly really love that. And I think we need like a combination of both of them. So like some people need to work on the analytical part, and some people need to work on the mimetic part, and try to balance it out. Yeah, that's what I wanted to chip in for. And yeah.
Can we just really quickly give it up for Chang on the website? Because Chang put an insane amount of work into it, and I'm glad to see you on stage right now. You deserve to have your spotlight. And I don't want to take away from what you just said, because I do think that you make a really strong point where like too much, it's kind of like the yin and yang, and like you kind of need sort of like a sufficient marriage of both sides of it. And so our community and the diversity of like types of content people are creating kind of creates that balance, but like on an individual person by person basis, like I personally am too much in the schizo direction that sometimes like if I'm shilling it, I'm probably not doing justice to some of like the holder distribution metrics that would make, or like even like the duration of time someone has held a significant like percent of supply or something like this that would sort of add validity to like actually maybe they can flip the stock market. So I think that's a really good point, Chang, that like if anyone is leaning in one direction or the other, there's value to maybe having like striking a better balance between both sides of it. And you kind of have empowered people to do that by adding sort of both sides to the website, which I think is probably the best onboarding tool. So yeah, nice. Awesome job.
Yeah. I also wanted to add that Lumi is like not only a chatbot, but I also integrated the Telegram meme search bot to it. So if you ask her to search a meme, she could search an SPX meme. You can ask her to play her favorite song on the website. You can ask her to draw something. So like, test it out. Let me know how you think, and if you have any idea, let me know on the DMs. I'll try to add it. So now that like I can code things, if there's a feedback, like we could actually make the changes. So I'll try to improve the website constantly. So it's like constantly evolving and getting better every time we try to implement a change.
That's incredible. So, Chang, just to be clear, similarly to how the Telegram allows you to search for certain types of memes using keywords, that same sort of repository of memes can be searched with Lumi.
Yes, but you could also be more descriptive.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you could ask her like, oh, a meme where blah 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 does that. Like, for example, Murad eating ice cream. Where Telegram search bot would need you to type Murad ice cream to find it, but you could describe, oh, Murad eating an ice cream versus Murad dropping an ice cream. So you could be more descriptive, and it will search it a bit better. But there is a downside, like it only shows one picture at a time. So like I do need to figure out the way where you can see like a variety of memes when you search, so you can find the exact one you wanted. So I'll think about that.
Chang, that's insane. I also want to just emphasize the other functionality you mentioned, which is that you can ask Lumi to draw you something. And I would just encourage people, if they're utilizing it, if you get something really good, share it with us in the Telegram, like take screenshots of things, because that's a lot of fun. And some of it might even be worth highlighting at different points on the timeline, because like I don't know, if Chang is going to continue to expand out Lumi, like there will probably at some point need to be sort of like a historical documentation of like here's how Lumi started out and like here's how she's functioning nowadays. So it would just be good to like do your part, maybe keeping records if you get something really interesting or really funny. Maybe just save it, share it with others if you don't mind. But yeah, Chang, anything else about the website that you would like to highlight as like the person who sort of developed and conceived of this entire thing?
So I give the credit for you, Spacey, because you always wanted like a change on the website, and I kind of was hyped for like almost like for 8 months, I guess, about having a new website. And yeah, like it was kind of sad in a way that our website was boring compared to others. I know it's no PvP, but it's like if we want to be the biggest meme coin, or like if you want to be the biggest coin ever, we probably want an interesting website at least. So we kind of have a lot of brainstorming going on. What if we do something like that? What if it's going to be something like an OS? Oh wait, these kind of coins did it, so it's not unique. So we kind of kept discussing, which one would have been unique. And it's like, okay, if we work on a website, we probably wanted something like a game menu. So that's why you can navigate it with a keyboard and or mouse, just like in a video game. If you open it on a computer, I think it would be pretty cool if I managed to make it so that you could use a controller to control the website. But that's later. That should be done, like, planned later for that. But it's just a gimmick. And yeah, so like a lot of these things, idea, like, I've been discussing it with Hype a lot. And also, people have been praising me for Lumi. Like, I did Coder, I did, Maker, but the idea of the Lumi character itself being like a glowing android from the project Aeon and just like a little helper for you, that's Hype's idea. So like, I do also want to give Hype credit for it, because he deserves it. And he put in a lot of money on the design and the artwork for Lumi. So yeah, I do want to give credit for Hype. He definitely sacrificed a lot of the things that he could have done for himself just to develop Lumi. And yeah.
Can I pause you so we give Hype a round of applause for the contributions to conceiving of Lumi? Let's do it. Yeah. User Hype. Gotta love him. Yeah. No, I appreciate you saying that, Chang. And like, I think Hype also appreciated the back and forth and like your willingness to sort of iterate on things, both with Lumi and also the website, because we spoke a lot about it too on our end, and like all of that time that you're referencing, like 8 months or whatever it was of going back and forth, was like Hype would have some different ways of like maybe this should look like this, or this should do this. And sometimes that might have been coming from me. Sometimes it might have been coming from Hype. But Chang like continuously was iterating on things. So it's just, again, kind of a testament, similar to what we were saying earlier about the Bronze Army, a testament to what can be accomplished when you collaborate with sort of like-minded people from SPX, with a similar sort of mission in mind. But yeah, Chang, it's super cool to hear what you're thinking going forward with the website, connecting it to a controller. That's fun. I love that.
Yeah, so like when we go to an event, like we could have like a laptop connected to a controller and like we could control the website.
That's sick.
Yeah, I think that's
yeah. Hell yeah.
And like the video game section, it's a rhythm game used with your mouse. So I'm trying to make it into a keyboard game too. So you can play it on mobile and on keyboard. And if I could manage it to make it a keyboard game, it could also be used on controller. So like people could like use it on, try it out on the convention, and probably be an interesting way to, promote the coin to other people interested in crypto.
That's incredible. I love that. And so, like, since we're on the topic of Lumi, though, really quickly, I know we kind of switched back to the website, but do you want to walk us through like what you see Lumi doing like in the future, beyond increasing the functionality through the bot on the website? How do you picture Lumi fitting into the SPX 6900 sort of ecosystem? Yeah.
So the development of Lumi actually started when I first joined SPX, because it was girl is cute kind of a vibe, and Hype picked it up quite quickly, and he was DMing me because he was interested in VTubers, and he was interested on having like a VTuber assistant next to him. So that's when it all started. But this, like, I wasn't really serious onto it until on the mic space. If you do remember the 6.9 day spaces, where you came, Spacey, to people and tell people like, we should probably stop using Mary Rose for legal reasons, and we don't own the IP. The copyright is, we don't own the copyright, so like it's probably better not to use them a lot. If you want to use them on a video, don't put it on the first frame, put it in like the middle so like it doesn't get copyright strike, or like all these things. So I thought to myself, what if we make our own character IP so that we don't have to worry about these kind of things, and we can keep the girlish cute thesis that we had from the beginning of SPX. So the question is, do we want it to keep it for only SPX, or do we want to expand outside of SPX so people could recognize that character and not necessarily be an SPX buyer? And I thought to myself, that's a really good way, because it could be it could act like a gateway to SPX. So people would research about that character and buy SPX if they like the coin and the idea. Like they see the girl's cute thesis, and then they research about SPX. They'll read they'll watch like videos from Murad, article from Polymetrics, and like all these different views on SPX and philosophy behind SPX. And it could be a gateway, an easy gateway. And I do believe that, because there is a tool called Vocaloid, which is basically you put the note, a music note, and the lyrics, and there's an like robot that could sing that lyric to that exact note, and it sounds very natural. And that's called Vocaloid. And one of the most famous Vocaloid is called Miku. And the reason that the first year of Miku was terrible. It was not successful at all. Yamaha, it's made by Yamaha, and they failed it. Like they thought they failed it, and they should have, get rid of it. But then some person suggested, why don't we make it into an anime character? And then after they'd done it, the popularity increased, and oh boy, they have Miku has her own fandom, and it kind of keeps making revenue for Yamaha. And that's the second point of Lumi. So because she's not only for SPX people who enjoy SPX, but people outside of SPX who might, if she becomes famous, we can make merches out of Lumi. And if someone's like, oh, I like Lumi, but if there's SPX, I don't really like crypto, and I think crypto's a scam, but they like Lumi, they could buy Lumi merches, and that revenue could be used by the treasury. And so it's on a way, a strategic point where not only promotes SPX, but also financially helps SPX. And I do want to make it big, and I do see a market for it, like Lumi, because our biggest competitor is called Neurosama, which is another AI VTuber. And I do see it technically. We are catching up to the tech that is behind her. We just need to try to figure out the way to make her go viral. But then there is a marketplace. She's very famous, almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And at one point, she was the biggest streamer on Twitch. So if we could become if Lumi could become the biggest streamer on Twitch, that would easily lead to a lot of people to SPX. So at least, research about them. And, Twitch streamers, they sell a lot of merches. They're like semi-celebrities. So these merches sales would go very high. So we probably could be self-sustaining in all those hidden fees that people don't know about that's going on at SPX that relied on people donating to the treasury. So that's my grand vision. And we could hire people to work for SPX full time instead of a lot of people say they want to put more time in SPX, but they're tired from work. Then okay, Lumi's making money, we can hire you. So that's my grand vision of it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So and we own the character IP. So we have no worries about getting copyright struck with Lumi.
Right. Because, exactly.
Yeah. A lot of our work. Yeah. Are other characters that has copyright.
So Chang, how do we go viral on Twitch? From someone who probably uses it more than I do, let's say I know Bronze Army is a group of people I can count on, and we want to scale Lumi's Twitch channel pretty efficiently, within a small window of time. Does that involve, ahead of the stream going live that we know is going to feature Lumi the VTuber, we reach out to, say, Bronze Army and some of the other cohorts of really active people in our community, and we say to them, okay, go on Twitch and raid X, Y, and Z channels or like streams with this link? Like, what does it look like to get a Twitch channel to sort of go viral?
So me and Hype is we're just researching it rigorously, and
Yeah.
we did find a clue on how to make it viral, but like we still need to do more research upon that. So
Yeah.
like it's interesting that you brought up going to other people's stream and like spamming the link.
Yeah.
This could work, or it could be very bad for us. But
Yeah. Right. Like, can we get like similar? Sorry, similar to like X, can you get like shadow banned if you do stuff like that, or like I assume there are consequences?
I'm not so sure about that, but we could. I mean, yeah, I think we could get banned because Twitch frowns upon that.
Yeah.
But one way to get an attention is try to spam videos of Lumi to like people outside of SPX, like preferably like a bigger content creator on like for example on X. Like if we go to like a very big X account that's not crypto related and we keep spamming, eventually you'll have to see it, and then like, okay, what is this? And not only that person himself or herself, the account owner, but like the followers could also see it on the comment section.
Yeah.
And yeah, if they liked it, they'll retweet it, and one retweet from like a big account would change everything. Yeah, it's like it's gonna make her blow up. And after that, we need to keep on producing good content that that originally made it viral. So it does have a lot of work afterward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
in a way, do you want to have like a log of stuff ready to go before that virality hits, or?
It's a constant development. So probably that's probably not important, having a lot of log of content. But it does help. It does help, but it's not important. It's not necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting attention from someone big in Twitter would help a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically spamming. But there is like another way to spam it but yeah, that's for me and I to discuss and like research further upon, and we're probably gonna organize it and try to explain to people later on. So we're not so sure if that method is correct or not. So we probably do need to do more market research on that. We are looking at how a lot of content creators became famous, like really dumb creators. Like, why would people watch these people? Like some people you see on the video, like when you scroll down Instagram, it's like, why is he famous? I don't get it. Like we're trying to look at what made them famous, because if they could become famous and we follow their method, then Lumi could easily go viral. So
yeah, that makes sense.
We kind of have a clue on what they did behind the scenes, and we just need to do further research to know whether or not if that's true or not.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh man, it's like internet archaeology in a sense, I guess, like looking for what post was like the catalyst, or I don't know, like what piece of content. Yeah, I guess you could see that, like you look at the engagement like before it went crazy versus like when it starts to, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult because the algorithm changes all the time, and we need to adapt to
exactly. Yeah.
And like the game was really different. Like before, it used to be a few people watch it and it's like good enough engagement. Then the algorithm would like push it to everyone, and everybody would watch it, and then it's gonna blow up. But now the game is different. It's instead of how many people watch it, it became how many people upload about it. So we just need to test that theory out.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. So how many people talk about it? That's more important.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm sure there are people in our community who have the tooling and have the experience scraping from APIs of different social media platforms. If people want to go off on their own and try and do some natural language processing and figure out what sort of catalyzes that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess on different platforms, it's I don't know. I think you can scrape from Reddit with relative ease. I think you can scrape from Twitter with relative ease. But I'm not familiar with Twitch like really at all. I only ever use Twitch when I'm watching hype streams. So yeah, but I imagine you could do something similar where you can scrape a certain kind of post. You could run some natural language processing algorithm and like do topical engineering and figure out like what things yield like better engagement and whatnot. And also like the dynamics of like which account, like, so I guess some accounts are considered like more central nodes, and then what other accounts are just like boosting from that node. So yeah, there's like a dynamics side of things probably to be considered, but it all sounds like it's very difficult, the research you guys are working on right now. So if there's anything that people in the community could do to help, would you guys just make us aware and like,
Oh,
we'll see.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. We will need the Bronze Army for sure.
Yeah.
If there's an impossible task, Bronze Army will make it possible.
That's
We'll
right.
need-
That's right. Awesome. Well, Chang, I appreciate you coming up here. We got to have you up here more often.
I'll
but
try because the time is set.
I know. I'm so sorry.
4 a.m.
Have you slept yet, or is this like?
Nah, I haven't slept. I'm probably trying to stay up all day, and then try to fix my sleep schedule.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, because Chang, I feel like you've been on U.S. time lately.
Yeah, I am.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's crazy. And yeah, like same for Hypey. And actually some of our other Aussie community members seem like they're also on US time, which makes me highly concerned. But yeah, thank you for being here. I see we got Mako on stage and that he has his hand up. It's good to see you again. I'm so sorry to make you wait. How's it going?
Sorry, I've talked a lot.
No, it was fantastic. I appreciate everything King you did with the website, and I think it's a really great onboarding tool. Kind of came to the spaces late, but yeah, I put out a post, and I know I'm in communication with some of you about trying to set up a New York meetup, the financial capital of the world, and what better city to have a real life event in than the financial capital of the world, the epicenter of TradFi that we are trying to flip. So yeah, if anyone wants to reach out to me or kind of coordinate, it's still early in talks. We're just trading ideas. We might do a smaller scale meetup first, and kind of brainstorm, and yeah, looking forward to it.
That's awesome. And yeah, guys, reach out to Mako. Mako is really like at the center of organizing this. I'm in the middle of getting my life together around this baby's arrival, but I will be there. I'll do whatever I can to contribute to it. But yeah, if you can't get in touch with Mako or you're having issues getting connected, you could then reach out to me. But definitely, I think he's going to be at the center of organizing it. So we're really grateful to you for doing that, like for sort of stepping up and getting discussions going. And yeah, I mean, we have, how many people, Mako, would you say are like prospective attendees of something in New York City at the moment?
I can't really say because it's just so early right now, but
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, but anyone in like, even if you're just on the East Coast or you're in the tri-state area, just maybe reach out to Mako if you think there's a chance you might be able to get there. And Mako, you think it'll be in New York City? Do you think it'll be more like surrounding areas like Brooklyn or Queens? What are your thoughts?
No clue. Maybe Manhattan.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. That sounds awesome. Yeah. And have you been otherwise, Mako?
I've been okay. Yeah, I've been okay. Just keeping busy, trying to stay engaged, and yeah, awesome. I've been good, and yeah, still fighting for the cause, and yeah, I've been good. I've been good. I hope you've been well with the arrival of the baby, and yeah, I'm very inspired and still as enthusiastic as ever, and yeah, things are going good. Things are going well.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I'm like super bullish just looking at the community and the way the community kind of carries itself, like, I feel like in the past week, you've gotten to see a little bit more of like different sort of like ideological tensions come to surface. Like people have different perspectives on things. To me, that's super bullish. Like, because the most bearish thing would be if we succumb to like this groupthink and everyone has the exact same ideas about every single topic. That would be bearish. And like, I would probably run away from this thing as quickly as possible. So it's been kind of nice to just see that there's like a vibrancy and there's a like diversity of thought that our community has. So I feel like SPX is so well positioned because we have all different kinds of thinkers. We have all different kinds of sort of content creators. And importantly, in spite of all of those differences, everyone at the end of the day knows 6,900 is a greater number than 500 and is like dedicated to sort of protecting and upholding like the core values of SPX. So I think it's a beautiful thing. We're in a really good place. And like, I know Mako has been around for a really long time. And like, for me, SPX is like as healthy as it could possibly be, maybe given like all circumstances considered and just general market conditions and whatnot. Like, I just feel super, super bullish and grateful to be a part of it. And like, I look forward to what new SPX content is going to come out on a day-to-day basis. And
Sure.
yeah, so I don't know, Mako, you feel similarly or
Oh yeah.
different from
No.
that?
Oh no, for sure. No, no, I feel we're in as good a spot as any. One thing that I'm thinking of, I don't know if it's too early because I think I mentioned last week that like I try to reach out to journalists just to get us some legitimate coverage or at least put SPX on the radar. I think maybe in New York, if we did like a meetup or something outside like a financial firm or something just to get like local media coverage. I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking $2,000 at this point. But I think if we have the opportunity, why not? Like if all of us kind of like met in front of the headquarters. Well, I think the headquarters for CNBC is actually in New Jersey, Inglewood, New Jersey. Actually, it's not even, or maybe it's in New York. I don't know. But if we met outside, or like what the CNBC, they do Squawk Box outside of the NASDAQ. It's just a bunch of us just like met up wearing SPX gear, I don't know.
And like you're thinking give a heads up to media outlets in case they want to come and cover it, sort of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
That's
just
cool.
to get on the radar. Yeah, or like, if maybe a lot of us just met up in front of the NASDAQ building during Squawk Box wearing the SPX, eventually people are like, wait, well, what is that? So I think that would be kind of a cool thing. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love the concept. I think like even just finding out what things are happening that are meant to be high publicity events and like intentionally positioning ourselves there, like you said, wearing SPX merch is a really solid move. So even if like the journalists are not yet going to be super interested in coming to see us organized to be outside of the NASDAQ, maybe if we know something is going to be publicized because some big like key figure is going to be there, making it a point to like position a group of us to be there and to be repping the coin is a great move.
Yeah, so stuff we can definitely discuss.
Yeah, I love that.
Blaze.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Blaze.
Sorry.
Go for it.
I just wanted to say that's definitely a cool idea. But if you're gonna meet to be seen, make sure that like you also meet to connect. I think that meeting to connect is like the more bullish form of like in real life like activity at this point. I guess that's the only distinction I'd make.
No, I appreciate that. That's a good call out. One thing I do have on a side topic. I don't know if Chang is still on the website. It has the contracts for the different chains. I actually used to hold my SPX on base chain, and I converted it to native ETH as Murad recommended in the Amsterdam conference. I actually lost a lot of SPX in the process. I'm still kind of pissed about that, but it is what it is. So I'm surprised. So are we still going on cross-chain bridges, or are we trying to do this on native ETH? So
I could answer this, and then Chang, if you want to add to it, feel free. But I think basically, Mako, the point is that the supply is capped at obviously 1 billion tokens minus the 6.9% that were burned. It was native to Ethereum. And the thought is like in the process of bridging, this is not to mansplain, but I imagine some people in here might not understand the process of bridging. So I'm just going to say for context for those people, in the process of bridging, you end up like burning the tokens on one chain and minting them on another chain. But it's like kind of like an entitlement to tokens. But then like when you have that entitlement to those tokens on another chain like Solana, because it's not the original contract, it's kind of like held with a third party. And like the whole goal of DeFi being to like sort of like be your own bank and not have a middleman that can be exploited. There have been some like wormhole exploits and so on. I know you weren't talking about Solana, you're talking about Base, but similarly, anytime you introduce kind of a third party middleman situation, there's like a vulnerability that gets introduced that could potentially be exploited. So I think the thought was like bridge the tokens back to ETH, where like that's the native chain for SPX. And yeah, like it's not always an efficient process. So it might like reduce the number of tokens because like the transaction has to be done. It's like, I guess, burning and reminting elsewhere. So I don't know, Mako, if that answers the question exactly, but I
No,
think,
it does. It
yeah,
does, and that was my thought. That there, like once I learned that there's any potential vulnerability of going to a
yeah,
cross
like,
chain, I was like, all right, I got to get out. And
yeah,
like
right,
I said,
exactly.
I lost a few grand worth of SPS. Again, I'm pissed, but it is what it is. Lesson learned. But yeah, I mean, if we're yeah, that's why I was a little curious. Like, why are we still
Yeah,
telling people, hey, about these different
I think like
cross-chain contracts?
I think it's a really good question. And like when we first, so all of the bridging that was done was community funded. And like, so there were a couple of early SPX members who like basically gave their supply towards the bridging initiatives. Basically, Solana was known to be sort of like the chain that people were like moving towards. This was ahead of the launch of Pump.Fun. And so SPX community members kind of like front ran that trend because we knew there was going to be a ton of liquidity on the Solana chain. And there was, like, at the time, it was like completely a revolutionary sort of thing and it made sense. And it not only made sense because it like reduced friction to people getting exposure. Like if someone was onboarded at that time, you were more likely to be onboarded to Solana than you were to ETH because it was like kind of VC backed and they were trying to make it like more user friendly than like the ETH wallets and whatnot that like you had to jump through a million hoops to purchase your tokens. And so like a lot of the younger generations, like I'm a teacher, a lot of my students, when they got their first exposure to crypto, they were getting like Soulflare wallets. So they were like introduced through Solana. So there was like a ton of new volume coming in, a ton of like liquidity was poured into the Solana chain. And SPX kind of benefited from being both on Ethereum, but also on Solana. But beyond that, at the time, one of the things that community members were kind of experimenting with was creating LPs and like pairing SPX with other tokens. So like you might have seen an SPX Popcat pair, you might have seen SPX Pepe, you might have seen SPX Ticker Bitcoin, and the list goes on. And so because we were omni-chain, we were able to pair with a variety of other tokens. So at the time, there were a couple of benefits to being omni-chain that sort of like reinforced that it was a good decision. But I think at this point, people are more concerned with like just protecting their tokens and protecting our community. And so that's why a lot of people are starting to move back to ETH.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Really good question, because I'm sure like a lot of people probably have a similar question. And I see we also have Hypey up here. Oh, sorry, Chang, go for it.
Yeah, I'll make sure on the website it's clear that we highly recommend to use the Ethereum chain. Thanks
Yeah, I
for
think
the
that-
feedback.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you. Nice. Great stuff. Hypey, what's good? Good morning, sunshine. If you slept. I doubt you slept.
Yeah, I had a nap, and then I woke up and I was like, "Oh, it's still on. We're about to wrap,
Okay.
aren't we? Practice is almost over."
Well, yeah, we'll probably wrap it up soon, but I mean, you're here, so there's no rush. How's
Ping pong,
everything?
ping pong is next.
That's
I'm going
right.
back to bed.
That's right. Well, you can't go back to bed because Bronze Army has ping pong practice, which we all clearly need to attend because, I mean, we've had like incessant volleyball practices and not enough ping pong. So.
I'm starting to feel very Chinese.
What? So Heidi, what do you want to? So I mean, you kind of missed it, but we were talking about the insane work that Chang has done on this new website, and Chang wanted
It was
to give.
all me.
Wait. Well, I was just gonna say Chang gave you a very nice shout out, but you weren't here to get to hear it. But basically, was saying like you guys were going back and forth, not only on the website but also on Lumi. And so, like anything that you foresee, Chang gave us a little bit of background as to like where he sees Lumi will fit into the SPX ecosystem. But you know, I know that you wanted Lumi as a VTuber for streams and whatnot, and anything that you want people to know about, like who Lumi is or who we can expect Lumi to become within SPX, like from your own standpoint.
I just see it as your little, like, Nendroid assistant, pretty much. Because, you know, a bunch of Aeons have Nendroids, and they're meant to be your assistants. So,
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, so
Yeah.
right. Okay, so first of all, we need to do really quickly. Does anyone have an Android? Oh, I have one in my profile picture. So if anyone clicks my profile picture, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, there's like a little smaller character than my Aeon. So anytime we say Nendroid, we're referring to that little smaller character. And Hype just mentioned that like Lumi is meant to be kind of like a Nendroid assistant. So now that people kind of have this idea of what Nendroids are, Chang mentioned that when you were thinking of what Lumi would look like, Lumi was going to be like a glow Nendroid.
Yeah.
Why did you choose that one in particular, since there are a variety of different other Nendroids?
She's the rarest.
Okay, good. Rarity.
Much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Glow Angel.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
pretty
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, like, just it's the sickest and rarest Nendroid.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like, why are you gonna put all this fucking effort into like making like the 8th rarest one to turn into sort of like a mascot
Yeah.
and all these things? Yeah,
Yeah, that's
just
fair.
more autistically seamless to just try and make the rarest one.
Nice. And like, what did that process look like? You going back and forth with Chang as you guys like iterated on what this character was going to become?
Wait, what do you mean? Like visually?
Yeah, well, it could be visual. It could be in terms of like the personality of it. I mean, I think the personality of it, Chang sort of developed by like
Yeah.
training her with like different SPX content.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like
And then
I know in the video
tweaking her.
Chang talks about like scraping millions of tweets by hand and all this stuff. But yeah, like what did I guess the visual process? What did that look like? Like how much back and forth was there?
I can't. It was like a fair while ago now.
Yeah,
I can't quite remember.
that's
It
fair.
was sort of a little bit more with Civ, who did like the VTuber art.
Mm-hmm.
I think because it was like really hard to design something that's pure white and doesn't have design. Like it would have been way easier to not use a glow Android because they actually have like a costume or whatever. So it was more like Civ drew in a bunch of things like for the VTuber design, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, and then from what I'd get back from her, I'd be like, do we do this? Do we do that? Because yeah, I'd send her a bit of stuff, and then yeah. I'm
Wait,
not stoked with Lumi's visual design, but now it's done. So
were you like sketching things and being like, oh, add something here or whatever, or it was like kind of like text descriptions?
yeah, well, I made the little lookbooks.
Are you ever going to share those with us?
I think I have it somewhere.
I feel like that's stuff that would be worth seeing, like the sort of development of the visualization of this character that's going to become sort of iconic to SPX.
Yeah, I should be able to find it somewhere. It'll take me like half an hour to dig through folders.
Hypey, by the way, we need to talk. I didn't remember this until just now, but we do need to figure out August if we're going to do a slumber party spaces or something like that, and start to come up with like promo stuff and just get people aware of it ahead of time so we can celebrate 3 years.
Oh yeah, the summer solstice.
Yeah, it's not going to be solstice, but yeah, like, or maybe it is. Yeah, no, it's not going to be solstice, but yeah. Well, the last time there were also like these funky eclipses and whatnot. I wonder if there's any funky anomaly happening around that time. Let me see. It's going to be August 16, 2026. All right, let's see if there's anything good going on. Moon in Libra. Meh. The third quarter. No, new moon on August 12th. We could do it early. I mean, let's see. What's August 12th? August 12th. Nope, that's a Wednesday. 16th is a Sunday. Oh, so I mean, at minimum, we're going to be in Sunday spaces on the 3rd anniversary of SPX. So that's cool. Oh no, am I rugging? Type,
No.
You look unmuted. Oh, you are unmuted. Okay. Okay.
Am I like giving feedback?
No, it just like it's showing. It's confusing. It's showing both you and Maddox are unmuted, but Maddox is definitely not unmuted because we'll never get to hear Maddox's voice. We'll always have to wonder. No.
He's gone. One mention it.
No, no. I never should have said it.
He's like, "Hey guys, Maddox here."
One day he's just gonna speak, and we're gonna be like, "Oh!" I probably won't see it because my phone will be glitching or whatever. No, I think it says that the host is having connection issues, so we might have to rug this anyway. But just hypey, let's make sure we come up with a plan for some kind of a slumber party space to celebrate 3 years. And maybe we'll just put it out there if anyone wants to help coordinate it with us, to just reach out to us in maybe like a week or so we could have some time to talk about it and think about it, and maybe like have an idea of if my child is ever going to arrive on Earth, or if my child is just so comfortable in the womb that they decide to stay in there forever. All right, and Hypey, we're doing karaoke spaces for that, I think, right?
I guess we have to, don't we?
Yeah, and we have to require Murad to sing.
Oh, that'd be so
And if he sings, he has to sing either a song by a female artist or a rap song. I'm fine with either.
Yeah, there's no like Toto.
I agree.
So what's the wrap up before space?
Before we rug it, I think the wrap up is we have an amazing new website. So please, everyone, check it out. If you haven't looked at it yet, listen to what Chang said. The functionality of Lumi, you can get Lumi